Hello, class. I apologize in my other class, so I want to apologize to you. I was getting a weird sound echo. It turns out there's a switch on my microphone that allows me to directional record. So I fixed that, so it sounds better now, hopefully. Still the same voice, so that's how that works. This is an article on riding the next tech wave, and I want this lecture to be on technology in the classroom, especially for teachers who think that their classroom is going to be high-tech. And then when you get there, it's a little bit less high-tech. So let's define what high-tech is in a public school in Mississippi. So this article talks about riding the next tech wave and where the future of education is going within technology. It was written a year ago, so even though it's a year old or almost 18 months old, you still think, well, let's see if this technology is here or not. Well, as a teacher, you're going to get a lot of technology, and one thing you're going to see is, first off, it says online hand-in. Forget about paper worksheets, local networks, and USB thumb drives. While we have not quite reached the paperless classroom stage, the future of homework lies in sophisticated learning management systems with online storage capabilities. When students transfer work to the online storage center, a notification pops up on the teacher's dashboard. That's kind of like what we're using for this class, which is Blackboard, they call it. To give you a history lesson of Blackboard, it was originally what was called WebCT. And many universities in 2005, 2006 started using WebCT, and they were begging teachers, professors to use it because they saw that the future of instruction was online, kind of like what we're doing now. And they have now advanced it to what's called Blackboard, or now also known as MyCourses. It's pretty sophisticated what we're using now. I make my own videos with Camtasia, but it's really, really good. And those, whenever you submit an assignment, I get those alerts that say that the assignment needs to be graded. And I try to grade them as fast as possible, but some of those, they pull up pretty fast, especially when we're teaching this many classes with homework assignments every day. So it obviously pulls up. So that's one thing we're moving towards is online notification systems. They do cost a lot of money, and the downside, of course, is schools do not have the resources in the libraries to offer computers which can do submissions. So because of that, Google really jumped ahead of the game, and they started offering Chromebooks, and schools have bought and are leasing Chromebooks. And here is a video on what a Chromebook is.
Kansas City Public Schools will become the latest school district to put a computer in the hands of every student later this year. But another district is already there. Garrett Hake tells us how teachers and students will adapt in the Fort Osage School District.
If you're doing Glogster, you'll just go up into your URL.
In the Fort Osage School District, a student's notebook isn't what it used to be.
Erica, bring your computer up and I'll help you there.
Deborah Fremo's 8th grade class is learning to use a brand new classroom tool, Google Chromebooks. Simple, $250, internet-friendly laptops that Fort Osage thinks represent the future of learning.
I think this is how the world is moving. I think computers are something that are always going to be around.
The district spent nearly $500,000 to buy 1,500 Chromebooks. They hope to send one home with every middle and high school student by the 2016 school year.
In November, 7th graders will become the first to take home the specially engraved laptops.
Remember, once you log on to the Chromebook, on the bottom left is where you're going to find your browser.
For now, students are testing out the computers, writing papers, sending emails, even getting homework reminders via Twitter. The early reviews are good.
Our parents are old, so they're not going to know how to use the technology, but we are, because we're used to this is update now. This is in.
As in Kansas City, some teachers did not immediately embrace the plan.
The kids are familiar with the new technology. They use it every day, but the teachers, we're still adjusting to the constant changing times.
But adjust they must. More changes are ahead. The district plans to start teaching a new typing class soon for 2nd graders. In Fort Osage, Garrett Hake, 41 Action News.
There's a lot of grant money out there to get for Chromebooks, and I've had some discussions with other school districts about Chromebooks because I'm seeing it from the higher education perspective. And whenever someone says that their school district has Chromebooks, I just sit there and I start asking them all kinds of questions. Depends on the school, really. What happens is you receive a contract, or you sign a contract with Google or whoever's making the Chromebooks. And what they agree on is over a 3-year period for X amount of money, they will service and repair any Chromebook. Now, I've seen some school districts, which I won't name, which have Chromebooks, which the students they call it jailbreaking or hacking them. School districts try to put firewalls or parameters on there where the students can't see inappropriate websites, but I've heard stories that students are able to do it no matter what. So, and they're showing movies on them, and that becomes an issue as well. Also, if a student loses their Chromebook, the school district charges them $200 or $300 fee, but what if the student doesn't want to pay it or the parent refuses to pay it? How does that work? Chromebooks, for the most part, are very good, very successful. There's not been much research on the effects of Chromebooks and if they're doing a positive effect, but looking at technology, you definitely see that it does. I know some schools that are all moving towards Chromebooks. They hype it up like it's a major thing that the students are all getting Chromebooks. And it's like, okay, so everybody's getting a laptop. That's what it means. Everybody's getting a laptop. Okay, well, that's good. And it's good that they're doing that. But what are you doing with it is the question. Are you doing integration with your classroom? Are you bringing instructional objectives that help with the Chromebook? And I don't know if schools are doing that. But they're all the complaints I've always heard is the students are just hacking them and destroying them and all that stuff. So it depends on the school. I talked to another school that was doing very well, and I asked them about their Chromebooks, and they were like, "Oh, they're great." And I was like, "There's no inappropriate websites." "Oh, no. We're just glad to have them." So some of them do work, and some of them do work very well. This section right here talks about computer super screens. So it's becoming a new thing that we're seeing with technology. Computer, phone, and tablet screens have improved a lot in the past few years with resolution that rivals expensive TVs. It's just the start because most still use liquid crystal display. So that creates a huge electric bill, obviously. Last year, 2016, brought early organic light emanating diode, or OLED screens to tablets. So this is a new display that's emerged, is OLED screens. The key difference is these displays not only create their own light and they use less power, but they can be made thinner for super skinny devices. So we're going to get high definition, small screens. That's become the new thing. I have a video on OLED so you can get some kind of perspective of what it's going to look like in TVs, which are also going to be moving to classrooms.
OLED, or OLED, is a television technology that's been used in the best looking TVs we've seen to date. But how does the tech differ from regular TVs, and what do you need to know? OLED televisions produce their images via a different technological process to other kinds of TVs, and we at CNET have been very fond of the result, with the first OLED TV we reviewed producing the best picture quality we've ever seen. But to understand what makes OLED different, you first need to know how pictures are created in an LCD TV, which is the technology in common use today. At the back of LCD TVs there's a backlight, which shines light through liquid crystals, which act a bit like shutters, either allowing light through or not, depending on the current that's run through them. Red, green and blue colour filters put over the top make up an individual tiny on-screen pixel, capable of producing any colour, contributing to an overall visible picture on the screen. OLED uses that same colour combining principle, but the big difference is that there's no backlight. Instead, light is generated by organic compounds that glow when a current is applied. Some OLED designs, including one favoured by LG, use white OLEDs overlaid with red, green and blue filters, but the common trait is that OLED displays don't need a backlight. So why the better picture? Well, it's because each pixel can be shut off. When there's no current flowing, the pixel appears completely black. This extremely high contrast between light and dark makes for a lovely image, and we found beats the picture quality on sets that use backlights, even though TV makers have found clever ways to dim backlights in LCD TVs to make darker parts of the screen as black as possible. OLED screens can also be made very thin and have wide viewing angles, and the tech can also be put to use in bending or transparent displays. OLED is yet to go mainstream, however, and there aren't many TV makers using this technology, plus it remains very expensive. So OLED's commercial future is uncertain, but having been deeply impressed with TVs that use it, we certainly hope we see cheaper sets at a range of prices in years to come. That should be all you need to know for an introduction to OLED, but for much more on TVs and all things tech, stay tuned to CNET.
So that video was probably more than you wanted to know about OLED technology, but OLED technology allows the light that it creates, instead of bringing light in, it creates its own light. So if you just give you just a roundabout example of it, if there is a picture on snow, a guy skiing while he's on snow, all of the screen doesn't have to have white. So it'll take that white that has the snow and make it brighter, because it doesn't have to worry about energy on those other cells. So that's just kind of a technical thing. So what that does is it creates beautiful, bright, vivid images. So an OLED TV, especially since this is 3 years after they started coming out, is seeing, you can get a 65-inch LG OLED TV for around $1,900 right now. From just, I did Google a shopping search on that one, so it's pretty impressive. A lot of those TVs you see in Sam's are usually OLED TVs, especially the ones they're trying to show. It used to be kind of a technical point, is you'd go into Sam's to look for TVs and you would see these beautiful images, and then whenever you got home and you showed them, they didn't look that good, and they would always say that they're piping in better cable, which is true. People didn't get that if you have an HD cable running with a nice DVD which has HD, you're going to get that crisp look at that. And then when you get it home and you hook it up to your Comcast TV or DirecTV, you may not be catching that HD. So that's why it always looks a little bit different. But OLED, if you ever get a chance, I do not have an OLED TV yet, but that's what's moving towards the schools, is those OLEDs are going to be replacing some of those older TVs that they have in those schools, and it's just going to look really bright and really crisp. And that's what it says last year brought these nice displays. So schools may want to look at that, especially since they're so much cheaper now from 3 years ago. Go Blue 5.0. This is a new idea that's about 2 years in the making. It's Bluetooth. Now, we all know what Bluetooth is. It's whenever you go to Walmart and you see someone with a Bluetooth headphone talking and screaming, and then you're like, oh, they've got their Bluetooth. They look kind of weird, and it's just very rude. But Bluetooth technology in a school is very good. And this 5th generation Bluetooth has come out, and it's going to allow multiple things. One thing it's allowing, and there's a video I'm going to show you that's kind of long, and this guy throws a lot of information at you so that you know what Bluetooth is. But the reason I'm going to show you this is I want you to know what can be done with Bluetooth, instead of us walking around thinking that Bluetooth is just for our phone. But Bluetooth technology is very good. You can do wireless connections between printers and displays. And one thing that we call it is daisy chaining. It's whenever you hook up multiple things to one device, daisy chaining. Now, I'm doing that right now. You don't see it, but I've daisy chained my monitor. So I have 2 monitors. But I have my sister, she wants me to build her a computer, and she wants 4 monitors. So we're going to daisy chain that. So that's what it means, is pulling multiple devices off one hardware. So with Bluetooth, you don't have to worry about running multiple cables. With Bluetooth, you can do multiple displays by using wireless. Now that's something that's very interesting and that we're seeing move towards it. So Bluetooth 5.0 kind of went under the radar. No one really knew about it, but it's come out. And one thing the guy talks about is really just data and how it's able to bring in more data bits. And that's what they're moving towards, is they're wanting you to walk down the mall and your phone, because of Bluetooth, will be able to get messages, ding, 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 if you have it turned on, where you're going to be getting messages about sale at Hibbett's, sell at Belk's, come in right now. That's what these stores are wanting to do, is they're wanting to put markers out there that when you get near their store, your phone will catch a Bluetooth message. Now, many times we'll think, well, that's going to be stupid, but think about what that'll do for you in saving money. Like, I run some races, y'all know that, and then every now and then on Facebook, there'll be these messages that says, $25 off or $20 off a race registration. Like, man, I'm pretty glad I caught that. But if you're driving down the road and all of a sudden you get a message that says $10 off right now at this restaurant, those are going to be advertisements that you really want. And that's what the advertisers really want too. And those are called markers or signals that they're going to be, and that's why Bluetooth 5.0 is very successful. So imagine a school setting where as students are walking down the hallways, they can get messages like that. In this class, this is going on. Or if a parent wants to go by, they can catch those messages too on their phone. So they don't have to worry about checking email. They can check their phone to get those instant messages. So this is just a video on more than you want to know on Bluetooth 5.0.
Hello there, my name's Gary Sims from Android Authority. Now, we've had Bluetooth since the mid-1990s, and recently the Bluetooth Special Interest Group released some details about Bluetooth 5. Now, what is Bluetooth 5? Why is it a good thing? And when will we get it? Well, let me explain. Bluetooth 4 comes in two categories. Bluetooth Classic, which is the Bluetooth we use to power our keyboards and mice and wireless speakers, and Bluetooth Low Energy, which is used for healthcare, fitness and for beacons. So while a wireless keyboard would be using Bluetooth Classic, a device like the Fitbit would be using Bluetooth Low Energy, and that's because it hasn't got such a high demand on the battery. Now with Bluetooth 5, Bluetooth Classic remains exactly the same, and it's completely backwardly compatible. So all your existing keyboards and speakers and mice will work with Bluetooth 5 devices, and that won't be a problem. However, the big changes come with Bluetooth Low Energy in Bluetooth 5. There have been some big changes. First of all, it has a greater range, it has a greater speed, and it uses less power. Now with Bluetooth Low Energy version 4, you're expecting an outdoor range of around 50 meters. An indoor range would be around 10 meters. Of course, that depends on how many walls there are and the construction of the walls and how thick they are and so on. Now with Bluetooth 5, that's been boosted to 200 meters. 200 meters line of sight directly, no obstacles in the way. And inside, that means now around 40 meters. Now, I don't know how big your house is, but I'm sure that in my house, everything was in 40 meters of everything else. So this has a real boost for areas like Internet of Things and for home automation and even for home security, because now these devices can talk wirelessly with low energy consumption amongst themselves in a 40-meter radius. Now that's a really good improvement. But it's not only range that's been improved, it's also the speed. Now previously in version 4 of the low energy Bluetooth specification, the physical Bluetooth speed was around 1 megabits per second. Now that's been boosted to 2 megabits per second. Now when I say the physical speed, that's because by the time you add on protocols and error checking and so on, the actual data rate is reduced a little bit. But tests are showing that the theoretical throughput for a Bluetooth 5 low energy device is 1.6 megabits per second. But that's full duplex, which means in both directions. So in a single direction, that's around 783 kilobits per second. However, what that means practically is, again, devices like the Fitbit or other similar devices will sync at least twice as fast, but also it means that there's maybe new areas that can be explored now because data can be sent quicker, maybe video, audio, without there being a consumption of the battery power. And as I said, there's less power used. Now you'd imagine that with all the extra range and the extra speed, that actually the power usage would go up. But because of some clever technology that's included in Bluetooth 5, including a better use of the frequency, different ways of doing the modulation, the actual energy can be up to 2.5 times less, depending on the usage situation. So greater range, greater speed, and less power. However, there's also one important extra thing that's been added to Bluetooth 5. Now, in Bluetooth 4, there was the idea of connectionless broadcasting. If you remember, at the moment when you use Bluetooth, you mainly use it by pairing it. You pair your phone with your Fitbit, you pair the phone with the speakers, you pair your computer with a wireless keyboard, and so on. But there is a mode in Bluetooth 4 that allows you to have a connectionless advertising, and this is aimed at the idea of things called beacons. basically a little device that can transmit Bluetooth information in an area. And let's think about a shopping mall, for example. Maybe you go into a particular shop and there may be a Bluetooth beacon that will transmit information about offers, about how you can get access to their online site, or so on. There's just lots and lots of possibilities that can be used. You can even go up to a parking meter and it has a Bluetooth beacon that can tell your phone how you can pay online, for example. Now, there was a small problem with the Bluetooth 4 version. You were only allowed to put 31 bytes inside those broadcasting packets. Now, in fact, there's no standard for how that 31 bytes is formatted. And there are different schemes available at the moment. One is iBeacon from Apple, and another is Eddystone from Google, which try to define how those 31 bytes look and what information they can contain. Now, the problem is when you add protocols inside of that data packet, actually the amount of space you can get in actual data in there is even reduced even further, because you have to have bits of protocol, say this is an iBeacon thing, this is an Eddystone thing, this is a URL, this is text, this is whatever, and that takes up space inside that 31 bytes, and really it takes around sort of 10, 11 bytes, so you drop it down to kind of even 20 bytes, even 17 bytes of available data. Now, http://androidauthority.com won't fit into 17 bytes, so we couldn't have a Bluetooth beacon that transmits the Android Authority's website. Now, the way this was envisioned in Bluetooth 4 is through the use of a thing called Universally Unique Identifiers, UUIDs, and these were basically 128-bit numbers that were basically unique, and your phone could match itself up to a unique beacon and say, right, I recognize this beacon, I know what it's about, I know where I'm coming from. And maybe inside a shopping mall, the beacons would be different between every shop. Inside each department, they would all be different, and their uniqueness means they can be uniquely identified. But then it would require the phone to talk to something on the internet to actually say, hey, what does this unique number mean? What can I do with it? Can I look it up? Can I use your app? Maybe I've installed an app for a particular shopping mall. Can I use the app to find out what that means? And really just having that unique number is powerful, but really not powerful enough. And so the Eddystone standard from Google not only allows you to produce these IDs, it also allows you to send out URLs. It also allows you to send out some encryption data if you wanted to do some authentication stuff. Now, 31 bytes down to 17 bytes by the time you click is not enough space. However, with Bluetooth 5, that has jumped from 31 to 255 bytes. Now, even when you include the protocol overheads, that's a significant chunk of data, which means you can send out some very sophisticated URLs. So imagine you go up to a parking meter, the parking meter sends out a Bluetooth broadcast that says you can go here, and the URL is formatted with maybe what floor you're on, what the parking meter number is, what time it is, and all that data will be sent through to your phone. You can then go onto the web and you can pay for a parking ticket. Now imagine that for just about any service or idea that you can think of, with all that data uniquely specifying a single physical point.
So that's more than you need to know about Bluetooth, but it's also very exciting. The thing though about this technology is you look at it and you're like, man, this is going to be amazing, but this is not going to be in schools for like 10 years because schools take so long to implement this technology. Some of the good schools really grab onto it. But now the private sector will of course jump on it pretty fast, and they'll definitely, if they can see that how they can benefit from this, they'll be really on it. Mix and match. The Chromebook is taking the K-12 classroom by storm. We know that. We've already discussed that. Right now, you won't need to choose between Android and Chromebook. They're talking about software is going to be opening up, and students will be able to use different items such as that. One of the biggest thing is, it says, regarding technology, which of the following areas will see the most significant growth in the district in 2017? The article was written last year. But it says tablets or other portable devices and internet and Wi-Fi infrastructure. Mississippi does have good Wi-Fi in their schools, but it's always been clouded by security. You know, we don't want hackers to get into our technology, our Wi-Fi, so that's how that works. I asked a security guy that. I said, how does McDonald's have better Wi-Fi than schools? And he said, well, McDonald's has billions of dollars, and they're able to create Wi-Fi which has good security switches. He said local schools don't have that, so they usually have to put their Wi-Fi up and put a lot of constraints, a lot of Wi-Fi passwords. I've been to some schools where they will refuse to give you the Wi-Fi password because they don't want students to have it. And I don't understand that. Well, why would you have Wi-Fi if you're not going to allow your students to use it? Now, with that said, this is a video on a local school district using C Spire from Mississippi to get Wi-Fi.
Here in the Boonville School District, Governor Phil Bryant's program called the Digital Interactive Learning Program has allowed us to put technology in the hands of every student, kindergarten through 12th grade.
Well, this is good. This is cutting edge stuff. So I came here to see what y'all are doing because Boonville and just a couple of other schools across the state are doing this, and got the broadband connectivity that you need to be able to download that type of information. And we hope one day to have it in all the schools.
We chose for the kindergarten and first grade to use iPad minis, one because of typing skills and also the easier for the smaller hands to get a hold of and handle. We use Chromebooks 2 through 12 because they will be tested on the devices to be used for state testing.
Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. You're not going to go tomorrow when we start making our pottery and have no idea how to even begin this. We're probably not going to go with the gym.
They will be able to participate in school from home. We've subscribed to a learning management system where when it's up and running completely, they'll be able to do a closed course within that learning management system. Therefore, students would be able to do the work that they would miss by not being in class that day.
Does give me positive act. That's right.
A huge benefit of all of this is we were able to get underground fiber connecting the 3 schools and the central office in Boonville, Mississippi. And so we've got that, and C Spire was very instrumental in getting that for us.
And these are, you use this device in all of your homework and learning?
It allows our students and teachers to be ready for the workforce of tomorrow.
Input output table, a function table. We've got a function table.
Fraction. 0.53 is as a fraction. Lexi?
There's a problem.
There's a problem.
And then there's a solution.
And then the solution.
Well, the last thing the article talks about is think like a machine, and it's talking about data analysis and items such as that, but that's fine. We don't have to look at that. But I like this section right here, which says education or educators to increase focus on digital citizenship. And I want to make sure you catch that word because this is critical for all of us. Digital citizenship is the way you are portrayed online. Many educators don't realize that what you put on Facebook and what you put on social media can come back and bite you. And you'll see this a lot, and you have to be careful with this because you have a digital footprint, which they're now changing to digital citizenship. And teachers always get in trouble for things they post online. That is becoming your new thing. There's a TV show called Ellen. She does a bit about digital citizenship that I will let you see a little bit of right now. It talks about, so you can just look at this.
All right, here's my question. How many of you are on Facebook? A lot of you on Facebook? I don't know what's going on with this timeline thing that's going. I don't like it because it makes it harder to go through the pages, and it's what I've been doing all day long before you got here. I needed to see who was coming to my show. I want to show you what I found from some of you folks here today. Oh, no. Where's Jared Hansen? Where are you? Jared? There's that vote of confidence that I'm looking for. Hello. So do you have any compromising photos that you think I might not want to see?
Not that I know of.
Really? I just want to ask you about this particular photo right here. You're talking to someone.
No!
Let's zoom in on this little area right here. Yeah. So Jared, what's going on with the area there? It looks like a fig leaf of some sort.
I was Adam for Halloween and my friend was Eve.
All right. You were Adam, and then can we zoom out to see what Eve looks like?
I was a bit more committed.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really what Eve looked like from the pictures I've seen. All right, so she looks like she's looking right at the fig leaf if you look at her eyes. She's, ay caramba. All right, well, thank you for letting us, or you didn't let us, I just did it. Thank you. You didn't. Where is Katie Gallagher? Where are you? Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you? How's it going?
Awesome. How are you?
Awesome as well. Do you know which picture I'm going to show of yours?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, here's what I'm a firm believer that you should never stop learning. You should always, always grow as a human being. You should learn things in life. And it appears you're taking a class here. Let's take a look. All right. I assume it's a class, but
Yes, it's a class.
it was a class?
pole dancing class.
It was a pole dance. Exactly. So here's another move of yours that is on here. That one of the all-time sexy moves. When you see that, that's when the money comes out. When someone is just holding on like a... All right. And then, of course, the big finish here. All right. So when you're leaving today, if anyone needs change or singles, I think Katie has singles. All right. Where is Lisa Sawatsky and Jackie Hansen? Where are y'all? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Everybody, for posting the pictures you post, y'all are all so shy. It's so easy to do that when you're at home going, that'll be good to put on there. Are you're two friends?
Yep.
How long have y'all known each other?
8 years.
8 years.
How long?
8 years.
8 years. And you took a picture that is, it's really sweet. It's, what were y'all doing in this picture? Tell me. I don't remember meeting you ever, and...
She did it.
Okay.
What was it?
She requested tickets to the Ellen Show for her birthday, which is today, by the way. And she got them, and I was so excited. And
Right.
her husband let me know early that we got the tickets. So that was her Valentine from me. And don't you remember? We were on the red carpet with you.
I do not remember it, and the photoshopping is probably the worst I've ever seen in my life. And it's also an older picture from, I don't know when that is from, so you need an updated picture. Come on down, let's take a picture together. Hi. 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 Good to see you again. Yeah, great. All right, let's take a picture.
So this is just a really good article, and it talks about everything you need to know about technology and where it's moving towards in the future. Digital citizenship is funny, but it can also get us in trouble, and maybe we need to teach that to our students. But this last part right here says we need to make sure we move towards Google Classrooms, one-to-one Chromebooks, everybody gets a Chromebook, and digital citizenship. A total of 227 leaders participated in the technology survey, and it just described a bigger shift to Wi-Fi and infrastructure. I do want to tell you that there is, in my research on this one, there is a movement that I saw that I don't know much of, so I'm not going to teach about it too much. But there is a movement in other countries that the concern that Wi-Fi is creating health issues. I don't know much research on that one, but they're saying that all of this energy and electricity flowing through can cause health issues. I don't know if that's true or not. I will let you do your own research on that one. The word for this lecture is Wi-Fi. The homework assignment will be just writing this word. I want to give y'all a day off. But now you see that technology in schools is really moving ahead. And when you go to your first classroom or you're in your classroom, think, do you have this? And are you going to get it? But you definitely want to be ahead of the game when it comes to technology. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email. The word is Wi-Fi.